What if gravity stops working? Welcome back to our channel, where we explore fascinating concepts and thought-provoking scenarios. Today, we have an extraordinary topic that will challenge our understanding of the universe. So buckle up and join us as we dive into the intriguing world of what if gravity stops working. We'll take a deeper look at what would happen if gravity suddenly stopped working in this video. It's one of nature's most powerful forces, but what if it could be turned off? Could humanity make it? Is the world about to end? Gravity is one thing you can always bank on, right? It is one among the four fundamental forces of physics, and its comprehension of the larger cosmos is critical. On a more personal level, it's also the reason why none of us have yet risen and drifted away into space. The gravity of Earth holds us to this world. But what if things change? This is Information 01, and today we're going to solve an unusual question. What would happen if gravity suddenly ceased working? Consider the following scenario. You're going about your usual routine, perhaps walking through a park or waiting at a red light, and suddenly, you feel strange. Very amusing. It's like having butterflies in your stomach, but much worse. Surprisingly, you feel yourself losing your footing, although you haven't quite fallen over. Instead, your feet are no longer firmly planted on the ground. It's as if you've been flung out of an aeroplane, weightless, as if the cords that had been holding you down have been severed. You look about in a panicked state, and everyone else you can see is going through the same thing. It can't be true, yet it is. Gravity has been turned off. So, what comes next? As far as apocalypse scenarios go, this one appears to be fairly entertaining at first. Wouldn't it be hilarious to become completely weightless throughout your everyday commute? Actually, you can laugh if you want. However, it would almost probably kill you rapidly. We take gravity for granted, but without it, we'd all be in big trouble, and here's why. On Earth, gravity holds everything together. Not only you, but also other people and animals. Everything. Gravity keeps water, air, and the environment exactly where they are. When gravity is removed, everything falls apart. First, unless you were tethered to the Earth at the time of the huge switch off, you wouldn't have much time to recognize what was going on. That first episode of unexpected floating would shortly transform into a swift ascension into the sky. The Earth continues to rotate, but you are no longer tied to it, so you rush upward in a straight path. Indeed, it may feel more like the Earth is falling away from you than you are flying away from it. Regardless, you'll be gone from Earth in no time. If you manage to stay awake, you could even catch a fleeting sight of your former home planet continuing in its orbit around the Sun. You and everyone else are then adrift in space. There are endless corpses of humans and animals that were safely held on the ground to your left, right, above, and below you. And it no longer appears to be any fun at all. In reality, you wouldn't be conscious enough to observe that. If gravity were to cease, so would air pressure, which would rip through your body, destroying its structural integrity in a variety of ways. The composition of your lungs, brain, and one steady beating heart, the state of your blood and saliva, muscles, and bones, everything would fail instantaneously in the absence of gravity. You would undoubtedly pass out within seconds, and your body would immediately fall in on itself and shred itself apart. As a result, the sky graveyard becomes even more horrible. Even the air can't escape the horror. Among the pressure loss, the air particles themselves would be breaking apart and rapidly migrating away from Earth. All liquids would behave similarly, rising as though to the skies and disintegrating as they went. Gravity holds rivers, lakes, and even the seas in place. Take that away, and they all vanish. If you were observing Earth from afar throughout all of this, it would appear as if the planet was shedding its skin, as if our world was melting away into the abyss. Everything that wasn't linked to the ground in some way would go rapidly. The ground would then begin to give way. Building foundations deteriorate, bridges fall, and even centuries-old structures are no longer safe. All loose rocks and boulders will have already shattered into space, but there will soon be rocks breaking through the ground and seabed. Massive chunks would form first, then dissolve into smaller and smaller parts. Volcanoes would erupt, but not in the way you may expect. Instead, the molten rock, like everything else, would collapse into oblivion. Of course, there would be earthquakes, but these would be more than just passing shakes. They would be the final signs and sounds of a planet truly tearing itself apart from the inside out. Even the mantle and core would eventually succumb. Our planet's own innards would be the last to depart. In terms of timeline, there is nothing in the actual world to even remotely compare this to. It may then all happen in an instant, like a massive explosion or implosion, that is dramatic enough to erase everything in milliseconds. On the other hand, it's possible that there will be some time between the beginning of the end and the conclusion of the end. In any event, if you slow it down enough to follow, any loose items would be the first to go, followed by everything lodged in the planet, and finally the planet itself. And all of those components would be reduced down to their most essential components. What occurs next is determined by how far and wide the lack of gravity extends. If it is solely on Earth, all of the above is the extent of the destruction. If it's all over the solar system, a similar scenario would be playing out on all the other planets, with all the millions of asteroids, and with the Sun at the center. The gases that make up Jupiter and Saturn would be siphoned away in the pandemonium, the asteroid belt would split with nothing left to hold it together, and the most distant planets would either escape intact and forge a new existence as rogue planets, or they would also break up forever. If gravity did not give the Sun with integrity, all of its energy would be lashed out across the surrounding territory, bathing the entire disaster in one final wash of heat and light. Even further off, picture gravity breaking down across the entire cosmos. All of this would be happening in every star system out there, while the galaxies that previously held them together fell to rubble in the background. Thankfully, this is one apocalypse that we can confidently predict will not occur anytime soon in real life. For a reason, gravity is one of the four fundamental forces. It is always there whenever a huge enough object, such as the Earth, is present. It is not something that can simply vanish. Nonetheless, this is a hypothetical scenario designed to emphasize the extraordinary and flawless balance that rules our planet, cosmos, and reality. We'd be toast without it, no doubt. The simple human being would be cruelly demolished, all while speeding off from this globe and into the depths of space. If you managed to keep your sense of self, you'd notice carnage all around you, a floating massacre of the life you just left behind. And, even if you knew what was going to happen ahead of time, and wanted to tether yourself to something enormous like a cliff wall to see it all unfold, your end-of-the-world experience would still be brief. The oxygen in the atmosphere around you would be quickly sucked out, the water in your body would be quickly channeled out, and all of your most delicate parts, your eyes, teeth, tongue, fingernails, would be striving to detach themselves from you. Even after all of that, the rock to which you'd bound yourself would eventually break and crumble. Yes, that's a completely hypothetical scenario, but there's no upside or escape route in any of it. That's what would happen if gravity suddenly ceased to exist. Conclusion. While the hypothetical scenario of gravity ceasing to exist presents a myriad of challenges and changes, it also offers glimpses into a world yet to be discovered. It forces us to reevaluate our understanding of the universe and contemplate the intricate relationship between gravity, life, and our place in the cosmos. Remember to share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to our channel for more captivating explorations of the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and keep pondering the limitless possibilities of our universe. Thank you for watching.